From the Watergate Building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now, here's Hotline editor, John Mercurio.
It's Wednesday, and you're in the Hotline TV room.
A report emerged earlier this week that Senator John Warner is giving clear indications he will not return for another term. Incidentally, he's trying to remain mum in an attempt to help Republican Tom Davis replace him. John, why doesn't he just yell, hey, look, there's a blimp, and then let Davis get in while nobody's looking?
Well, I think this is sort of the figurative equivalent of what he is doing. If you believe these conspiracy theories, you have Warner sort of like trying to run out the clock. He's not raising a lot of money. You know, his chief political advisors have all sort of left him over the past year. Those are all sort of the obvious tea leaves for somebody who in their 70s, or actually I think he's in his 80s, not something running like for re-election. And I think Davis, if you look at the general field in Virginia, would be the sort of natural ally, the natural heir apparent for somebody like Warner, a moderate Republican, much more in line with sort of the old wing of the Republican Party. A lot of them at odds, I think, with the very obvious or the very emboldened conservative wing of Virginia. The conspiracy theory, though, I think is being forwarded by people like Morton Blackwell, the RNC member from Virginia. Not a big fan of Davis's, not a big fan of Warner's, who's trying to send a warning to the conservatives of Virginia,
you guys
saying,
better start raising
money. We got to get Ollie
no
North
matter
to
what
run
happens,
again. We got to get Oliver North,
or at least have some money in the bank so that when there is a candidate, you know, when Warner makes his decision, regardless who the candidate is, there'll be some money sitting there, so they don't have to scramble at the last minute.
Right. It'll be a great race, though. I mean, on the Democratic side, it's very possible you're going to have Mark Warner. He hasn't said no yet. He's the former governor. It'd be a very strong candidate. In a state where they just elected Jim Webb, that could be a very, very interesting race.
But let's get right down to it. For Tom
Please.
Davis, you know, his appeal really comes down to this. I'm the only candidate who can win Northern Virginia. That was the key in the governor's election. That's going to be the key really for the future of the Republican Party in the state. And at the same time, that is not a very compelling message in a Republican primary to go up to voters and say, like, you might not agree with me on any of the issues, but remember, people up in Northern Virginia are the key to winning. And that is a very, very tough sell. Regardless, and P.S., we don't know whether there's a convention or a primary.
Right.
Convention, that is very tough for somebody like Davis.
For somebody like Davis, sure. He will most likely face some sort of challenge from within the party. But look, he's an excellent fundraiser. Obviously, he was the chair of the NRCC.
Yep.
He's a political junkie. He loves this kind of stuff. He's a good campaigner. But you're right, he'll definitely face some sort of primary. I can't think, though, in Virginia right now, within the Republican Party, who would be strong enough to sort of take him on, unless you're talking about maybe somebody like Virgil Good. There you go.
Wasn't that interesting?
I'm starting the Virgil Good.
Oh,
I'm drafting.
on the bus.
You're drafting. I'm on the bus. I'm on the bandwagon.
Yeah. God, we just mixed a lot of different segments there, but it gives us some ideas for the next Hotline TV.
It gives us stuff to talk about. But we're out of time for today. But just remember, Mr. Warner, we're on to you. John Warner, that is, not Mark. We're not on to Mark, but we are. Actually, we could be.